even proccing just a couple elemental reactions, getting rid of the pyro buff, we should be able to just nuke the boss with this set. So let's just do a quick damage test. Everybody shows the cryo. Nobody shows the pyro boss, you know? Nobody. Let's change that. Cool. Man, she's nasty. She's nasty. And this set is disgusting. I'm telling you. Do not sleep on this set. What's up, you guys? It's AD here, and today I wanted to talk to you about two artifact sets that could potentially be the best DPS sets in the entire game, but a lot of people are sleeping on them because they have some other set counterparts that seem at first glance to be the best option. And I don't want you guys to sleep on these and throw out some really good rolls because they're actually quite good. So let's just dive right into it, right? The two sets that I'm referring to are the lavawalker and the thundersoother sets. And the reason why I feel like these are overlooked is obviously because they are usually paired with their domain counterparts, which are the Crimson Witch and Thundering Fury sets. For those of you that, are living under a rock somehow, the Thundering Fury set is the Thunder set, obviously. That gives an electro damage bonus at first and then increases damage caused by basically your elemental reactions involving electricity, and then triggering them reduces your elemental skill CD by 1 second. And the Crimson Witch set goes and does the similar thing except for pyro, where you get a pyro damage bonus. It increases your overloaded burning and vaporize, and but using elemental skill increases the 2-piece bonus by 50% for 10 seconds times 3 stacks. Now, a lot of people automatically gravitate towards these because the 2-piece already is applying damage, and it looks like, hey, the 4-piece also is amplifying your damage, which is true, but I think that sometimes the description can be slightly misleading. If you go and you look at the lavawalker set, right? 2-piece set is just 40 pyro resistance, and the similar thing with a thundersoother set. But the 4-piece is actually ridiculously strong in that it increases your damage against enemies affected by pyro by 35%, and the thundersoother is the same thing but with electro. Now, a 35% damage increase against things that are affected by electro or pyro is like a ton of damage, right? Whereas if you look at the Crimson Witch set, and just hear me out here, because I know it sounds whack, and I'm not saying Crimson Witch is bad. Please don't. I'm not saying that. But when you actually break it down, right? Increases overloaded and burning damage by 40%, increases vaporize and melt damage by 15%. All this really is, it's very similar to if you just had elemental mastery on, right? So right now, this is my Klee build. I love it. It's nasty. I've got 169% crit damage. I've got 116% pyro damage. I'm still almost at 2k attack. She rips through things, right? I don't have a lot of elemental mastery. So if you look at the elemental mastery, my overloaded superconduct is only at 9.8% and vaporize and melt is 4.1%, right? So, and again, remember, Crimson Witch is going to increase that by like 40%. Well, if I go and say I just toss on an elemental mastery like 5-piece, right? Or 5-star, which will increase my elemental mastery by 180. Let's see what it does. Well, we go from, now I'm at 200 elemental mastery, and my melt and vaporize at 35%, and my overloaded electrocharge is at 86%. It's very similar, right? I mean, it's doing the same thing. It's just increasing my melt and my vaporize, and it's also increasing my overload by a similar amount to the Crimson Witch set. Now, for those of you that don't know, elemental mastery is not a fantastic thing to stack because the way that it scales is not that strong. And so when you actually break down the Crimson set, what it really amounts to almost is, okay, I'm basically getting a lot of elemental mastery for free here. And using the elemental skill 2-piece set, this is This is good. I would say it's actually better than the Thundering Fury set, but it's doing a 50% increase of this pyro damage, 15%. It's not like it's giving you like 150% extra pyro damage. And so when you think about it like that, the two sets are not that far apart, and in a lot of cases, depending on your character, the lavawalker set actually can outperform it. And a big part of the reason why as well, just trying to sell you on these lavawalker artifacts and the thundersoother, is when you're going, and I'm AR 43 right now. Okay, so I haven't unlocked, I haven't gotten my AR 45 like domains with constant 5 stars, but I've farmed a lot of them. It seems to me like you are heavily skewed towards getting a lot more of the thundersoother and lavawalker sets to drop than you are to the Crimson Witch. Now this could just be RNG, but I'm making this video because I don't want you to go and, like, if you get a bunch of lavawalkers epiphany sets, or you get a bunch of thundersoothers and you're looking for Thundering Fury, don't toss out the lavawalkers. Like, my build right now is like it's pretty bonkers. I could go and optimize it a bit more, definitely, and I'm 100% still farming to get more Crimson Witch stuff. But like, I've gotten a lot of great lavawalker pieces that, like, otherwise you might just throw out if you're not like actually thinking like this, right? Like some of these, like crit damage, crit rate. Like I think my flower is 21% crit damage. Like there's so many things that you might just skip out on if you are just tunneling for Crimson Witch or tunneling for Thundering Fury. Now, why is this set good just in general? And what are the pros and cons? Well, increased damage against enemies affected by pyro for 35%. For characters like Klee, this set is insane because all of her attacks deal pyro damage. So from the jump, everything is affected by pyro. The downside to this, very similar to the downside with some other sets, is that when you go and you're going up against something that constantly procs like an elemental reaction and it doesn't get affected, it doesn't have that like pyro status on it, you're not going to be getting a ton of additional pyro damage because it's not immediately affected by it, right? But this doesn't include world bosses and things like the golems, the sama churls. Like all of those things can still be affected by pyro, like including the pyro Regis Vine. And so you end up getting, against all of those major bosses, basically a flat 35% damage increase, which is pretty insane. And you don't have to go and proc any elemental effects off of it. Like you could just go, and if you wanted to just run, say, Klee with, I don't know, with all pyro characters or something, or you didn't want to run like a official or whatever, you could just run her and do a ton of damage without ever proccing an elemental reaction. Like the set is really, really good, and I encourage you guys to just go test it out, do some testing on your own, and also just be on the lookout for really good rolls. Like honestly, I've spent a ton of resin farming the fire domain, right? And you get a lot of these lavawalker artifacts. Go and see like what kind of good rolls you can get. Like some of these are absolutely mental, dude. They really are. And I can make an artifact farming video for you guys later, but like some of the sets I'm seeing suggested by the community, they're incredibly hard to farm, right? Like gladiators is great and all, but you're only getting it from world bosses, and those cost a lot of resin. And so like your chances of getting a full perfect roll gladiator set outside of just getting like the free gladiator stuff that you get from random adventure book stuff, or getting like a perfect wanderer's troop set, like you can't farm that from domains as far as I'm aware. It's only dropping from world bosses that are 40 resin, whereas like a normal, like if you go and you run this, you're doing this for 20, right? So this is just something I want you guys to think about. I'll post a whole build about my Klee and everything and some damage testing that I've done. But the damage output with Lava Walkers and thundersoother is really powerful. And just to dive into why thundersoother is potentially better than Thundering Fury for a sec, unlike the Crimson Witch set, right? The effects of the Thundering Fury set just reduce your elemental skill CD, right? And so most of the time, let's be real, you're probably going to be thinking about running this on a Keqing, whatever you want to call it. Her elemental skill CD is super low already. And so it almost begs the question, like, in terms of raw DPS, is it really that big of a deal to have a little bit of an elemental mastery bonus and a slightly shorter cooldown on your E? Or is it better when you actually pop your E to be dealing 35% increased damage from everything? That's the thing I want to point out to you guys. It's not just like you're dealing 35% damage from just like electro attacks. It's 35 increased damage from anywhere else, any outside thing. Like if you switch character, well, no, not if you switch characters, but like if you do physical attacks on them, it increases the damage of the physical attacks. If you do electro damage, if you like whatever you do, it's going to increase the damage output, which is pretty nice. It's good. It really is. So that means even on Diluc, if you go and you pop your E, your physical attacks will also be increased. Right? If you go and you pop Razor's E, your physical attacks will be increased. Now, you'll have to do testing because some, like certain slimes or whatever, you might not be able to get that damage bonus. But if you can go and you can get to me, it's a lot easier to get a amazing Lava Walker set than it is to get an amazing Crimson Witch set right now. At least for 5 stars. You're going to get a lot of both sets, but I would just highly suggest you guys keep a lookout, give it a try. Don't shut them down just because of this pyro resistance stuff. Okay? They're actually really, really good sets. And I'll put some gameplay of me destroying bosses with just Klee at the end of this video because why not? But otherwise, that's it for me, guys. Adam D, out. Come on, you jump through it. Let's do this. And boop, boop. Charge attack once. Charge attack once. Stupid strong. Didn't even have to trigger the second part of the ult. She's whack. Boop, boop, boop. So the damage is pretty good. Drop that. Oh yeah. Wow. That set's nasty, dude. That set is nasty.